I'd like to call the annual meeting of the Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church to order. (7:02). And we'll ask the clerk to establish a quorum.
We have a quorum is 18. We have more than 18 present in the sanctuary. Hello.
Stefano just walked in. Great. Yeah, more coming. So we have a quorum. And Randall, we need to read the warrant.
Okay. It's half the worship. The 2026 annual meeting warrant. The 2026 annual meeting of the Melrose Unitarian Universalist Church is being held on Wednesday, May 20th, 2026 at 7 p.m. in the sanctuary and on Zoom. The purpose of the meeting is to receive reports from the officers and committees, to elect officers, directors at large, chairpersons
No,
of
I'm
committees,
going to call it fine.
trustees, and a nominating committee, to adopt the budget, and to transact such other business as may legally and properly come before it. All are welcome to attend. Only voting members of the church may vote at the annual meeting.
Thank you, Randall. So just a word about voting procedures. We use Robert's Rules of Order. Mary Ellen Fitzgibbon has offered to be our parliamentarian. If we have any questions, we'll direct them to her. We have no bylaw changes or any business of that nature on the agenda, so all motions simply need a simple majority to carry. And the purpose of the meeting, is to transact business and to get a sense of the congregation. I'd just like to refer to the a line in the board covenant, which we created with UUA materials when I became president. One of the lines is empathy. We will strive to understand others' viewpoints and use disagreements as opportunities for deeper understanding. So this has been really helpful for me, and I would like to encourage everyone to take that approach. We're here to find out what we all think. So if you have ideas that are different than the ones you are hearing, please feel free to step up to the microphone and tell us your perspective. And if you don't understand what someone's saying, please feel free to ask questions. We're here to get a sense of the congregation, of the members, and what we think. And I will ask Reverend Suzanne to light the chalice. Okay, I don't know when to change them.
That's why I wanted to look. So,
Okay, so where am I supposed to look?
so we're supposed to talk about the agenda,
Okay.
call to order, establish a quorum. There.
All right. So which button do I press? All right, great.
For our chalice lighting this evening, I have a poem written by my friend Manish Misra Marzetti, who is our minister in Ann Arbor, Michigan. It's called Nothing is Static. The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake, reminding us that the solidity we often love and seek is always an illusion. The crumbling dust of the desert plains, the moist fertility of farmlands, the eroding coastline of tidal shores, all are changing. Committees dissolve or are created. Leaders retire or step away. Ministers come and go. Bylaws are amended. New experiences lead to new truths, which foster evolution, the natural course of life always pushing us toward greater understandings of what it means to be human. Everything about our existence points towards change, flexibility, and dynamic recreation. And it's hard because change involves loss. Can we hold the losses well while not holding ourselves back? The ground shifts, sometimes slowly, sometimes like an earthquake. Nothing is static.
All right, our first order of business is to approve the minutes of the 2025 annual meeting. Do I hear a motion? Dan Griscom, second. Who spoke up? Dan Franklin. So let's do this. Raise your hand and yell, all right, when we're all right, so we have a motion to approve the minutes. Before I ask for discussion, I would like to draw your attention to page 9 of the minutes. There's an edit there. Last year I said that the income stabilization fund was in the bylaws, but it is actually a policy, and there's an edit, and so it's corrected. Any other discussion about the minutes? Let's go ahead and vote. All in favor of approving the minutes in the annual report, please raise your hand and keep them up. And on Zoom? How are we doing on Zoom, Gretchen? Six yeses on Zoom. All right, everybody on Zoom. All right, so now I will ask for noes. Are there any people who would like to vote against approving the minutes? I see noes. No noes. Any abstentions? Great. Is this working on Zoom? Okay. Reports. I'll take a motion to approve the reports of the staff. Do we want to do staff, officers, committee, other reports, and financial reports? Let's break them up. I'll take a motion to approve the reports of the staff and the officers. Dan, and I see Jane Foley. Dan Griscom moved and Jane Foley seconded. Any discussion? All in favor of approving the reports of the staff and the officers, please raise your hand. Four yes, all right. Thank you, hands down, thank you very much. Anyone who would like to vote no on approving those? 5 yeses on Zoom. Any no votes, staff and officer reports? Any abstentions? Great, I will take a motion to... One abstention? One abstention. I think it includes the president's report because I'm an officer. All right. How far did I get? Just officers? I'd like to take a motion to approve the committee and other reports. I see Ann Noonan. Second. I need a second. Gail Maynard. Any discussion? Mary Delahanty, you need to come forward and speak at the microphone. So you can't be seen on Zoom unless you come forward, so come all the way up to the front.
This is more of a comment than a question.
It's discussion, great. It's on, but you got to get right up close to it.
It is on.
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Even closer. I noticed we have the Information Technology Committee listed under committee reports. I also know we just introduced the new website committee, and I just wondered why that wasn't listed here. Or was it just that it was a last-minute ad?
Why the website committee is not there?
Yeah.
Because it didn't have a report. It hasn't done anything. It was just formed.
It was formed, but it
Yeah.
hasn't done anything. Okay.
Right.
That
I mean, I think it was basically being formed as the annual report deadline came up.
Okay.
Yeah. But we'll hear from them next year. Great. Michael O'Connor, please unmute.
I did unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes, thank you.
I'd like to note in the Finance Committee report that there was a reference to the Personnel Committee, and that committee is composed of Jim Duncan, myself, and Jane Foley, not Patricia Ferris.
So are you making a motion to amend that report?
Yes.
So, Dan, so we have a motion from Michael O'Connor to amend the Finance Committee report to update the Personnel Committee members, and we have a second from Dan Griscom. Any discussion on the motion to amend the report? All in favor of the motion to amend the report? Sorry. I'm actually not supposed to vote. All right. So we have approved a change to the Finance Committee report. Chuck, did you have a comment? You got to come to the microphone or else people on Zoom can't hear you. Sorry.
So I saw the same error in the treasurer's report, and I'm just looking for where it is in the because this was about the Finance Committee report, right?
I'm sorry. What are you looking for exactly?
So the point Michael brought up was about the Finance Committee report, and I'm
Yes.
not seeing where that error is there, but I did see that error in the treasurer's report.
Can you cite a page for us?
Chuck, I may have been,
I'd like to hear the page from where it is in the finance report. That's my question.
Okay,
But I'll
hold
tell
on.
you the page in the treasurer's report after that.
Great. Michael, did you have a comment?
I think it is in the treasurer's report. I was in error.
All right, so it's in the treasurer's report. So I think it would be better to clarify that the Personnel Committee is Jane Foley, Michael O'Connor, and Jim Duncan. And then the question is, how do we proceed having amended the wrong report? Yeah. Control Z. So Mary Ellen, what do you think? What is she? Michael, would you care to withdraw the motion?
Yes.
Dan seconds the withdrawal. So is that adequate?
Yeah,
The
I
motion is-
apologize for the confusion.
It's quite all right. All right, so the motion is withdrawn. Michael, did you have another motion you wanted to make? You want to amend the treasurer's report?
Yes.
You have to make the motion.
Amend the treasurer's report to reflect that the personnel committee is made up of Jim Duncan, Michael O'Connor, and Jane Foley.
Daniel Griscom seconds. Can we proceed to the vote? All right, all in favor of amending the treasurer's report? Raise your hands. All right, Amy, my apologies. Did you want to speak up, unmute, and tell us what you have to say? I think you're still muted, Amy.
I didn't have anything to say. I just had my raise my hand to vote yes.
Okay, great. Thank you. I believe the motion on the table is to approve other committees and other reports. Randall, is that accurate?
Yes, and there were no opposed, no abstentions.
Oh, thank you. Sorry, no, the motion, the business on the floor is to ask for anyone who opposes amending that report, or anyone who would like to abstain from voting. Okay, great. So the voting is closed on amending the treasurer's report. Well, we've amended the report. We haven't approved it. So are we on all other reports? We're on committees. So we need to approve those reports, and the motion is open on the floor, right?
So now we've amended
The treasurer's report. We've amended the treasurer's report.
now we're going to approve all the committee reports.
Then we're good. Right. And we already had that motion. So, David? Thank you for speaking up so I can think for a minute where I'm supposed to be.
I did not see this until just now, but in the trustees report, I think it is, financial reports, trustees. This is all on page 57 for those following along at home. Yes. So the question here is item 7. Item 7. Talking about the MUUC solar, the last sentence reads, as of March 31st, 2026, no money was received for the solar shares in fiscal 2026 due to lack of SREC revenue. I would say that is not exactly accurate, and that we're going to do a solar distribution, but it is late because I've been late. But we will do a solar distribution in 2026, fiscal 2026.
So there will be a distribution. Are you making a motion to amend that report?
I'd like to amend the.
Hold on just a sec. Mary Ellen?
Well, it's not due to a lack of SREC revenue. We could strike out that. I would like to propose that we strike due to lack of SREC revenue.
And in which report exactly? That's the trustees?
This is the trustees report, item 7.
Trustees report, item 7. David is moving. And Chuck's, is that a second?
Could I just make a point of order?
Yeah, but you got to come to the microphone. I'm sorry. Otherwise, people can't hear you. Point of order.
So what motion are we discussing? I mean, are we on financial reports yet?
No, I think we're on other reports. So the
So
financial.
isn't the trustees report and the financial reports?
Yeah. So
Okay.
let's. Sorry. Yeah. So let's amend the other or let's approve the other reports, and then under the financial reports we'll get to the trustees.
I had assumed that the treasurer's report was
That was part of the finance.
part
Yeah.
of finance.
Yeah, all right. Same issue. We're not sure where we are. My apologies. Would you like? Do we need to delineate the reports that we're approving? Okay. So, in my copy of the agenda, which does not move as quickly as I would like. If someone has a copy open and they'd like to help, please feel free. So we are on other reports. Is that correct, Randall? Committees, committee reports. Fellowship Committee, Information Technology Committee, Ministerial Internship Committee, Personnel Committee, Property Committee, Worship Committee. Those are the reports that we're going to approve now.
And the original motion was Ann, seconded by Mary Delahanty. And so, are we ready to vote on it?
So the original motion was Mary Delahanty, or Dan Griscom, and seconded by Mary Delahanty. And so we are approving the Fellowship Committee, Information Technology Committee, Ministerial Internship Committee, Personnel Committee, Property Committee, and Worship Committee reports.
Right.
Any more discussion on those reports? All in favor of approving those reports? Thank you. And on Zoom? 5 on Zoom. 6 on Zoom. So I think, I think I'm just going to pause after each recitation. If someone on Zoom feels they have not been counted, please feel free to unmute. So would anyone like to vote no on the motion? Would anyone like to abstain from voting? All right. Other reports. Alternative Fair, Cape Cod Retreat, Equal Exchange, Giving Beyond Our Walls, Hunger Ministries, Membership Team, Men's Group, Pro-Democracy Team, Racial Justice Team, and Quilters. I will entertain a motion to approve those. Dan Griscom. Gail Maynard, second. Gail Maynard. Any discussion? Mary Delahanty, come to the mic. Cozy up to that thing.
I believe the Bread of Life report is within Hunger Ministries. If that's the case, when the report was submitted, it was written by Martha Borkin, and my name is there, so we need to change the name, so I would make, as long as I'm in the right section,
Okay,
I would like to change, I am suggesting that we amend that report, the Bread of Life report, to show that it was submitted by Martha Borkin.
great. So you're making a motion to amend that report.
Yes.
That's seconded by Daniel Griscom. All in favor? Oh, all right, great, thank you. All right. 7 on Zoom. All right, hands down, thank you. Anyone opposed? Is there anyone who wants to abstain from voting? Great. Financial reports. Oh, no, wait, we need to approve. So we voted to change it. So we need to approve, we need to vote on the motion to accept those reports, the other reports, as amended. All in favor? All right. 18, 10, and 8. Anyone opposed? Anyone would like to abstain from voting? All right, those reports are approved. The financial reports. The financial. Okay. So the financial reports include the trustees of the endowment, the collector's report, finance committee, pledge drive report, the treasurer's report. Those are the reports, the financial reports. And so do we have a motion about amending the treasurer's report? So we have to have a motion to approve those reports. Should I delineate them again? Daniel Griscom moved. Jane Foley, second. Do we have a motion to amend the treasurer's report? Michael?
I move to amend the treasurer's report to reflect that the personnel committee is made up of Michael O'Connor, Jim Duncan, and Jane Foley.
Michael O'Connor moved. Daniel Griscom, second. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hands. All right. 6 on Zoom. Anyone like to vote no? Or would anyone like to abstain from voting? All right, the motion carries. To find out what's next. Point of order from the clerk.
Okay, yes. In the trustees of the MUUC
The endowment.
Item 7, page 57. The last line, I would like to propose to make an amendment to strike due to lack of SREC revenue.
So David has moved to amend that report. Daniel Griscom, second. Any discussion? All in favor? Thank you. Would anyone like to oppose the motion? Would anyone like to abstain from voting? All right, the motion carries. Are we ready to move on? I think we are. Do we need to, we still need a motion to approve? To approve as amended. So we need a motion to approve the report as amended. Yeah, we have the motion. Okay, let's vote on the motion to approve the. Oh. All right, let's accept all the reports. Who would like to make a motion to accept all of the financial reports? Karen Gabler. And Gail Maynard is the second. All in favor of accepting the financial reports? All right. We're ready to move on to the budget? Oh, that's right. Anyone voting no? You're welcome to vote no. Anyone want to abstain? Zoom room, I don't want to move too fast. Okay, great. Budget. We'll turn the discussion to the budget over to Vince and John. Yes?
I just want to point, we have 15 copies of the budget and the executive summary. If you want to get it, I can bring them to you too. And we've got the budget on slides as well.
All right, so do you want me to?
Anybody want a copy of the budget? Go on. Is it outlining? So, yeah, the
No.
executive summary. The executive summary.
If I sit, Suzanne, will I be able to do the slides?
Is your page number for the executive summary
I'm just going to flip through. So here's the first page. Here's the second page, the executive summary. There's the first slide, second slide, third slide, fourth slide. You probably are more used to doing this than I am.
I move that we accept the budget.
Daniel Griscom has moved to accept the budget. Do I have a second? Karen Gabler. Budget. Budget discussion is open.
Any questions about the budget or comments about the budget? Discussions about the budget? Chuck?
Well, I actually have three. I'll just say them out, and then, maybe they could be answered or discussed individually. The first one was, I wasn't sure, well, I wasn't even sure where this would be raised, so I'm raising it in the budget because it would be in the budget somewhere, and that's the organ repair that Tom made reference to in the music director's report. So I'm wondering about that. I'll say what the other two are as well. The second one I have a question about is the use of building, and in particular, the sort of miscellaneous rentals seem to have fallen off quite a bit. So I was wondering about that. And then the third one, I guess I might have looked for something in the board report, but anyway, it's to do with the line item for the consultant. And unless I missed it, there hasn't been really any description of that in the annual report. And I might have, I think I might have expected something that would describe that. So there's those three. I just wanted to get, right while I have the mic, to just say what all three are. Thanks.
You're right, it could have been included in the board report. So, but since it wasn't, I will tell you that we have, the board knows that we have put $10,000 in the budget for a consultant to help us with a feasibility study. We have a consultant contract now for much less money to do the lead up to that sort of work. And the idea is that a feasibility study is a precursor to a capital campaign. That's what that money would be used for. If that does not happen, the money, as far as I can tell, would not be used. So it's for a feasibility study, for a capital campaign. So my understanding is that you do a feasibility study first to see if it's feasible to raise the amount of money that you want to raise from the pool of people that you have as donors. And that's what that would be. Yeah, Gretchen Locke? Our incoming president.
Thanks. So, as Liz mentioned, we do have someone contracted for the rest of this church year for a much smaller amount. That was intended to do some preparatory work for leading up to a feasibility study. We haven't devoted as much time as I had hoped, just having other things going on. So we will, I think, be starting at a little bit earlier stage than actually launching a feasibility study for next year. So I can imagine that we might still use some consulting, but possibly not use that full $10,000 for next year. The feasibility study is sort of a $10,000 product. If we go that route, that's what it would cost. But there's other options for doing some of this groundwork that could be less than that.
I will say that projects like feasibility study and a capital campaign take off when there's a motivated group working to make it happen. So, good ideas don't happen because they're good ideas. They happen because people make them happen. So if there's interest in that, please speak to Gretchen. All right, so the other thing I think I can address is the organ repair. And so there are a couple things. The organ is not regularly maintained the way one would if we were an organ church, if we played the organ a lot, if it was really important to us. We have actually had a couple different people look at the organ, and we've had different estimates of what needed to be done. You may remember that 15 years ago, we had some of the pipes replaced. And so it has had work, but it hasn't had the kind of work that will keep it in playable condition. And so it currently is not playable. I personally have really not had the bandwidth to address the issue. And I think what Tom is trying to say is, if you would like me to play the organ, which he assumed we did, we need to fix it. Again, it's the sort of thing where a motivated group of people could really move that along. But at this point, I don't think we have that. And what was your third question, Chuck? The other rentals, and you feel the point, John Raymond has his hand up.
Last year, the martial arts was put under other rentals for no particular reason that I know of. So now it has been moved, it's its own line like it was supposed to be. That's the main difference.
All right. Great. Do we have other questions for, David Bliss?
I'm, I guess, a little sorry, but it seems I'm confused when I look up to this executive summary for fiscal year 27. It says use of church building $84,334, and then I look at the table on page 57, and it indicates that I see that number works. I'm confused, I guess, then, that Montessori is going to provide less revenue in the next year?
So Anissa Aloro of Montessori has inquired about renting the sanctuary, or not the sanctuary, the parish hall, during the summer for a period of about 2 to 3 weeks. She has inquired every year in the past 3 years. And I believe last year there was a confusion about that money, and it got inserted in Montessori rent. And that rent that rental did not happen. It seems more likely this year because I have asked Felicia to draw up a rental agreement. But the other thing I asked John and the Finance Committee to do was create a line for summer rent so that we could avoid that confusion. So that's what happened. The The Montessori use of space is on the space up here is on a 5-year lease. And so, we know what those amounts are. They just got entered in. There was some confusion.
Thank you.
I just want to check in with the Zoom room, make sure that there isn't anybody there who... Nancy Nichols?
Oh, hello. So I noticed that there is a auction second fundraiser budgeted in there. And I know sometimes we struggle finding someone to chair that. And I'm wondering if we have already identified a person or several people who are going to take on that project, because that'll be lovely.
Would the auction chairs like to reveal themselves?
Oh,
Eric Lambiaso and Mary Hildebrand are chairing the auction this year.
Wow, awesome. Okay, thank
Which
you.
is to say, Eric is you've agreed to take it on, right? Because Mary's going to be vice president. So yes, but thank you for pointing that out, Nancy. We do have continued leadership for the auction.
Excellent, thank you.
Anybody else in Zoom? Do we have other comments, questions about the budget? Are we ready to approve the budget? Dan Griscom has his hand up. So we have a motion open to approve it. So, all in favor of approving the budget, please raise your hands. That's fine. Have you counted? Thank you. Is there anyone? 8 on Zoom? Is there anyone who would like to vote no? Anyone who would like to abstain from voting? All right, the motion carries. Thank you. Thank you, Vince. Thank you, John Raymond. Thank you to the Finance Committee. It's a really big job, and we really deeply appreciate what you've done.
Well, thank you, and thank you to everyone in the congregation, because what really made a difference this year was the member pledges. You guys all came through with flying colors, as did the pledge team. So thank you very much.
Excellent. Oh, yay, we're at capital improvements, projects and funding. Yes? All right. So that's the plan. We're going to do capital improvement funding, projects and funding. So there was a forum. I think most of you were here. We talked a little bit about the projects, and we really didn't have a lot of time. So I've asked 2 people on those projects, our West Yard project team leader, Mary Ellen Fitzgibbon, and the boiler team replacement leader, co-leader with Randall, Lisa Wilson-Wright, to come up and give a little more in-depth information about those projects. So what do we have? First, we have the boiler replacement.
Okay. Hi, everybody. So I'm going to give a brief overview of the boiler replacement task force and what we've done to date. They are Randall and myself, Jerry Moroz, Eric Lambiaso, and Dan Franklin are on the committee. So the short of it is we need a boiler, and we need it pretty soon. That's basically the story. Bye. But more so, it's old. Why do we need one? It's old. It is energy inefficient compared to newer models. It uses fossil fuels, which is something that our Green Sanctuary Committee and the climate team have made a very important part of our MUUC values. It doesn't align with our current and expected use patterns. For example, what if this was happening yesterday, right? It would have been very uncomfortable in here. So that's why we need one. The desired outcomes of what we would like that replacement to look like are to have a new efficient heating system, reduce and ideally eliminate our reliance on fossil fuels, provide air conditioning to the church and assembly spaces. There are some spaces that already have air conditioning through mini splits, but broader. And ideally, to use federal and mass save incentives to reduce that cost. Any questions before I go on? Okay. Our statement of mission on our task force mission was to represent the board, congregation, and property committee to evaluate design proposals from qualified engineers or contractors. And then we had a list of more detailed elements of that. In talking about that and in looking at the proposals that had already been submitted, the team said, we need some more information. We need to understand this a little bit more. So we began to explore options. Why did we need more information? We needed to understand the pros and cons so that we could provide potential new bidders with the other bids didn't have all the elements that the original bids didn't have all the elements we were interested in. And so we wanted to provide potential new bidders with adequate information to prepare relevant bids and give us enough information to assess them when we got them. So that's why we did some more research. And so what have we done? We've met with experts from Melrose, from National Grid, and from the state, who also lives in Melrose, to discuss the project, things we should consider, and our funding options. We met, when I say we, I wasn't a part of this, unfortunately. I'm sad I couldn't make it. But we met with a member or members of a congregation in Wellesley that opted for geothermal heat pumps. We discussed a project on the phone and in a site visit. I think Randall and Jerry were able to make that. With a firm that drills geothermal wells. They drill wells, but geothermal wells in particular. And we drafted a request for quotations based on the prior request for proposals, but with a little bit more information about the geothermal element and a couple other things in there. We have not sent that out yet, but it is drafted, and we're waiting to get these last bits of information that we'll talk about later. So what have we considered? We've considered high efficiency gas furnace, so upgrading what we have now, but remaining with gas. We've discussed air source heat pumps, which would, the pro of the high efficiency gas would not get us air conditioning. So that would be, unless we did another air conditioning solution. Air source heat pumps and ground source heat pumps would each either reduce or eliminate our reliance on fossil fuels and would provide for air conditioning. The factors that we're considering and when we're thinking about what our recommendation, our best case scenario is, and what we will be looking for in any proposals are the impact on the climate, the cost, and various types of cost, its performance both in terms of adding AC, but also cold weather performance, like really cold days like we had this year. Will it perform well during that period? The electric supply, space, and aesthetic constraints. So things such as upgrading the church's electric service, knowing that we have a slate roof, with not so much space on our lawn to hang things outside on. So those are kinds of things that we're thinking about. Our recommendation is, if at all possible, we would really like to go with a geothermal heat pump system. We think that's the best choice, the best long-range choice for the church. But there are remaining questions about that and the other system types, which is it technically feasible? Is it financially feasible? So what would it cost? And are we willing and able to pay for it? If we find out that geothermal isn't feasible, is an air source system feasible? How could we make that happen? And either of these two systems, would we need a backup system for extreme cold weather? And what might that be? Could we go with electric resistance for those few days where we might need that, which isn't the most efficient, but would keep us off of fossil fuels? Or would we want an efficient gas boiler? And then finally, what happens if this thing, right back there, fails before we figure this all out? So those are our remaining questions. Our next steps are to talk to a church. We would ideally like to find a church that thought about geothermal and/or air source heat pumps and decided against them. We would like to get quotes to drill a test well. The non-binding estimate we had from the person we talked to was a little bit less than $20,000. If that well works out and says we could do geothermal, then it would become one of the wells we would need. And we would then, it might not all be in this order, but we would also need to issue an RFQ to find qualified bidders, and then from that RFQ, issue a limited request for proposals to the qualified firms. And that's it. Did I miss anything? Eric, Randall, Dan? We good? Dan, you look like you want to? Okay. Any questions? Charlie?
Thank you. I was wondering, did you talk to any churches that got geothermal and wish they hadn't?
Not yet.
Is that planned?
I don't know if that might be a tall order to find. There's not many churches that have done it because of the technical feasibility issues. But if we find one, that would be good.
With respect to technical feasibility, what about this area? Are there any places that have done geothermal?
There's lots of geothermal systems in residential here. There are no commercial that we know of this size, but that doesn't mean there isn't. The city looked at it for the new police station down on, what is that street? Foster, and they decided against it. They were doing a different kind of system though than what we would use here. So it remains to be seen, to be honest. It is not a done deal either way.
I'm not an expert, obviously, but usually what I'm told is that the topsoil layer is very thin here. There's the rock is very high up, and so that's why it's difficult to install geothermal around Melrose. That's what I was told.
Yeah, this is one of the reasons it's kind of like we need to get to the point that we can have an expert helping us through this. Other questions? Karen?
What's the backup plan B, if the geothermal doesn't work?
If the geothermal doesn't work, then our next best choice would be air source, either by itself or with a backup system. And if that doesn't work, then we would most likely have to opt for a efficient natural gas system, which is not what any of us want, but that would be the last choice, but it is a choice that we know is feasible. There are no incentives for it anymore, though. We would have to pay full cost.
Can we just double check the Zoom room? Is there anyone who wants to speak? All right. What are the next steps for the task group?
The next steps are we need to meet again.
Okay.
And I think the most likely thing is we need to decide whether we want to talk to these other churches and whether we want to get quotes for drilling holes or start the RFQ process for design firms. That's the next decision point we need to make. The talking to another church is not exclusive of doing the other two things. So.
Chuck?
Apart from the technical feasibility, I'm wondering if there is, I didn't really hear too much about any sort of financial feasibility. For example, the air source heat pump might be more expensive to operate. Maybe the geothermal is less expensive to operate, but it's more expensive in terms of upfront investment. Is like an analysis of that in the cards?
That would be a
for
part
this?
of hiring somebody to give us more hard numbers, but the reality is that, that you are absolutely correct. If we could get geothermal, it is most likely a higher upfront cost, not as much as we used to be, but I'll explain that in a second. But it's most likely a higher upfront cost for the operating cost, and the winter swing thing, the problem with cold temperatures becomes less of an issue with a geothermal system than it does with an air source system. The federal government has dropped all of its air source heat pump incentives, but there's still very generous ones for geothermal, up to 40% if you can source with product from the United States. And Mass Save still has incentives. They are lower than they were for reasons I will bore you with at a coffee hour one day. But they are lower than they were, but they do still have generous incentives for both system types.
Any other questions, observations, concerns? Great. I just want to really thank Lisa and Randall and everyone on this task group. It's really, it's great work, and it's really, it's pretty exciting to think that we might be able to do geothermal. All right, so Mary Ellen will now walk us through the West Yard project.
Hi, everyone. So I want to give a brief update on the West Yard landscape project, a project that strengthens the safety. All right. Gosh, I didn't think I could be much closer to it. Does that work? Yes. Okay. Sure. That'd be great. Let's see. This project is a project that strengthens safety, accessibility, and the long-term infrastructure of our buildings and grounds. This work is essential not only for ADA compliance and safety, but also for enabling our future heating system replacement and improving the overall experience of our outdoor spaces. Can you move to the next one? No. This is not my slide deck. Sorry, this is not my slide deck.
This is not your slide deck. Is there anything in here we can use?
Crumbs.
You want to start with the existing conditions?
That's, goodness. This is my slide deck. I sent it last night. Okay, well, we'll start over.
You can keep talking, Mariel.
Okay. It'd be a lot easier if, here, I'll use that. I know. This is like an old-fashioned way. Well, let's see. The project goals and the scope of work include addressing building and ADA code compliance. We have a couple of instances where we don't quite meet the code, both at the ramp landing and the egress stair from the Montessori school landing. There's a little kind of funny wedge of a ramp at the bottom of the stairs. We have some safety issues that we need to correct, including the repair or replacement of the crumbling sidewalk pavers, which everyone knows is covered, thanks to the property committee. Thank you for their work. It's covered with plywood to make it safe. We need some additional exterior lighting to improve the safety of the west side of the building. A big part of the project is enabling the heating system replacement by putting in a new conduit below grade, below what will be our new sidewalk, which will allow us to reroute the electrical system from the pole. We'll be able to eliminate the pole in the parking lot, and we will reroute the electrical system from the vault right at the corner of the parking lot and West Emerson Street. We have a whole bunch of other overall kind of landscape improvements that we're pursuing here with drainage improvements to alleviate the flooding that happens down the basement ramp, pave and restripe the parking lot, new plantings, hopefully with help from Linda, we'll focus on native New England plantings, conduit for a future irrigation system, benches, bike racks, and sidewalk lighting. I think one of the most important things I want to note is that these issues are all interconnected, and addressing them together is the most efficient and cost-effective approach to this project. Skip over these things. We worked with Crowley Cottrell Architects, who has developed a proposed design that integrates all of these elements into a cohesive, functional, and attractive landscape plan. The design supports accessibility, improves circulation, and enhances the overall appearance of the West Yard. This would be really helpful to have the slide on cost up there. We have gotten 3 order of magnitude cost estimates. One from Cassidy Construction, that was a company suggested by our landscape architect. From Eastern Property Management, who is our property manager here for the church, and from Glenn Kroll Construction, Glenn Kroll is a local Melrose contractor and familiar with this site and with all of the city ordinances. Again, it would be helpful if we had the slide, but it's important to note that, Cassidy Construction was $282,000 and change. Glenn Kroll was $282,000 and change. Eastern Property Management was $142,000. I note that because Eastern Property did not include a number of the scope items that we asked them to include, so we need to go back and talk to them, but we wanted advice from the board before we did more work on understanding these cost estimates. And the one thing that I think our group would also suggest is on top of these numbers that we add a 10 to potentially 15% contingency just for any unforeseen circumstances. It would also help us because we don't know what the schedule of our project is going to be. We would, of course, coordinate the schedule of our project with the Montessori School and with any other MUUC initiatives and programs. So I also want to thank Janice, Doug, and Linda for a wonderfully collaborative committee who, we got down to work and we were able to advance this discussion in fairly short order. And this project is a major step forward toward making our building and the surrounding landscape safer, more accessible, and better prepared for future infrastructure upgrades. It also enhances the beauty and usability of our outdoor spaces. It truly makes the west side of our building a more welcoming entry into our community. And I'm sorry about the slides. Maybe we can make them available.
Yeah, I'm
somehow?
sorry. I'm sorry about the slides. You know how when your email nests things and I saw the wrong version, and so I put the wrong version in. I'm sorry. That's on me.
That's okay. I think we got through it. I'm happy to answer questions as best I can.
Mary Ellen, does the project depend on the Montessori being in session or during the summer when they're out of session?
Yeah, brilliant question. Thank you. I think ideally we would do it when the Montessori school is not in session. There will be, heavy equipment, there'll be dust, there'll be noise. I think it would just be better to do it in the summer. That's just my opinion, but I think the committee kind of has been steering toward a summer project.
Do we have an idea how long the project would take?
No, because we haven't pursued it at that level of detail with the contractors yet. We wanted to get more advice from the board on next steps before we engaged any of the contractors in any more detail.
Great. Do you have any more questions? Stefano?
Does the project interact or interfere with the geothermal drilling? In other words, are we going to be drilling in the same areas?
Yeah, again, great question. My understanding, with my very, very limited knowledge, but a check-in with Lisa and Randall, is that, as I currently understand it, that's on the east side. Is that right? Yeah. And our project is entirely focused on the west side of the building?
Only the electric conduit, that's the only part, and then they're helping each other.
Yes,
Right.
we are, and we do need to get into more careful collaboration on the coordination of the electrical, but yeah, that's the only link. I think,
So-
would we have one last comment
ahead.
in that whatever we are doing on the west side of the building does not preclude some of the thinking that has already been done about how to make the front entrance of the building fully accessible.
So this is completely separate from any
Yes.
front of the building. I just want to state for the people on Zoom that the only overlap between these two projects, the boiler replacement and the West Yard project, is the accommodation in the West Yard project for the electrical upgrades.
That's correct.
Chuck Foley?
This would, I guess, apply to either or both of these projects, and that is it envisioned that the capital investment in either or both of these, is it envisioned that it would be encompassed, or it might be encompassed by a capital campaign, and or by investing the, part of the endowment in these?
Yes, we envision all those possibilities. Yeah, I mean, that was one of the things that John Pristel brought up at the forum. There are many ways to fund it, and wrapping, in particular, geothermal into a capital campaign is a real possibility. Any other questions? Carol Nestor? No, she's. Rhea will bring you the mic.
Are we discussing digging the light pole out there, out of the west?
The telephone pole in the parking lot in the West Yard will, part of the project is that it will go away.
Okay, it's
David,
going underneath, right?
Beg your pardon?
It's going underneath the land.
Yes,
Electrical part
yes,
of
the
it, yeah.
electric is going underground.
Okay, that's part of the cost, right?
That's part of the project, yes.
Okay.
Any other questions? All right, we'll get Mary Ellen's slide deck up on the website and put a link in the midweek update for that. Thank you. Thank you to this team. These teams have been really great. All right, we're going to move on to the slate. Oh, the asbestos. No, we're going to pretend asbestos doesn't exist. So do we have that slide up? Yeah, it is. All right. So we have an open OSHA, Occupational Safe and Healthy Administration complaint on our building, possible employee exposure of asbestos. So we received the complaint in April. We are in the process of planning projects for the church office, the DRE office, and the library. So if you poke your head in there, the two offices we're cleaning out stuff, and anybody who wants a 2-drawer filing cabinet is welcome to take it home with you tonight. Thank you to Felicia and to Dan Griscom and Property Committee. A number of people have been active in cleaning out those offices. So the plan is that we're going to do some upgrades, some just redecorating. We're going to paint. When I say we, I mean Eastern Property Management is going to paint. Then they're going to redo the floors. In the offices, the church office and the DRE office, there will be self-leveling compound which seals the asbestos, and then carpet on top of it. In the library, it will be vinyl plank flooring, and the glue, my understanding is that the glue seals the asbestos. So asbestos, if it's intact, is not dangerous. It's when either the tile that contains asbestos or the glue underneath, which I believe is called mastic, when those things crumble or break, then they're dangerous. So our goal is to, in these offices, encapsulate the asbestos and remediate the risk that way. I've sent that proposal to our OSHA officer. That proposal is acceptable to them. They want pictures, existing conditions, and then remediation pictures. And but we are currently in a compliance window that gets extended every time we move the project along. I think the most recent date I saw, correct me if I'm wrong, David, it was June 5th. EPM expects to have this, those 3 offices completed. The bigger issue for us is that in every room that has gray tile, there is tile in either, or there's asbestos in either the tile or the glue. And look at David, is that accurate?
9 by 9 by 8.
Then, yeah. So there is asbestos in the building, and we have been remediating the risk, particularly downstairs, with epoxy glue patching, and we can continue to do that. We can also remove the asbestos from the basement. We can remove the asbestos up here. There was asbestos in the hallway here, and that was completely remediated. It was removed under containment, which means that we had a professional firm come in, and there was the debris was contained within a secure environment. So that's just a question that we have to answer. What are we going to do? What do we want to do? What is the best thing to do? How would we fund any proposal? And if we're not going to remove it, how do we stay on top of it? Who's the person? Who are the people who are in charge of going around every month and making sure that there's no new asbestos risk? So we're dealing with our current complaint. We're in compliance. We have a plan. It's going to be taken care of. It'll be done by the end of the church year. But we still have the question. And so I just wanted to make sure that everybody understood what we're facing. Do I have questions about asbestos? Zoom room? Thank you. All right. Slate? Yep. You want me to do it? I'll move over there. All right, we're going to elect the slate. So this is our slate. All right. So this is the slate. The slate is on 2 pages. The second page are non-slate positions. They're appointed by the board. Do we have any questions about the slate? A big thank you to all these people who have stepped up. I see John Raymond's hand up.
I don't see anybody for Personnel Committee.
That is correct. I think that is appointed by the board. Is that right? Oops, sorry. Do we have Michael O'Connor? Is the Personnel Committee appointed by the board? Mary Ellen?
Yes.
Wow. We need to.
We need to take a motion?
We have a motion, and then we begin discussion.
Dan has moved to accept the slate. Karen Gabler, second. All right. Michael?
Yes.
Personnel Committee appointed by the board?
Typically it has been, yes.
Great. It has not typically appeared on the slate.
Correct.
Great. So the board has a couple of other positions. We have a nominating committee position, and there may be some other things. Yes, Michael?
There's one thing. Jim Duncan and I will continue, I believe, but unfortunately Jane has, because of other responsibilities that she has with the intern minister, with Rhea's work, is begging off. So that will be an issue that the board will need to address.
Right. We will take that. We have some positions to fill. We'll take that up in June. Any other discussion of this? Yes, Jane?
I'm just wondering about so the registrar position looks like the term ends and it has the asterisks next to it. That's on the second page, right? Yeah, the registrar. Oh, it's an on-slate position, and
right.
So it's going to be appointed by the board as well?
Right. We have an issue that we've been trying to approve the job descriptions for all the members of the board. We actually got interrupted on the collector's position, so we'll try to pick that back up for June. We don't have a job description for the registrar. So, yes, Jane? Right, but we still, I mean, so we can, so there's a report, and it's in the bylaws. There's the question that, a lot of what traditionally was done, like for certification by denominational affairs and the registrar, in theory can be done by Breeze. So, there's a question about, do we go ahead and create a job description? We can do that. So that question is open. Anyone else? All right, are we ready to vote on the slate? Let me just clarify. The Personnel Committee is appointed by the board. Right, I'm sorry, and we're looking at the slate. So this is the slate. So are we ready? Any more discussion? All in favor of approving this slate? And on Zoom? Great. Would anyone like to vote no? Would anyone like to abstain from voting? Great. The slate is accepted. Thank you very much to everyone who has agreed to step up. Nancy Nichols. Okay. So I just want to revisit a topic from last year that is basically still open, which is the ascending, non-ascending vice president. You may remember this slide from last year when we tried to use it to demonstrate how the use of a non-ascending vice president would work. And this is just an update to show you how it's happened. So in fiscal 25, I was president. Mary Beth Griscom was the non-ascending vice president. This year, Gretchen is the ascending vice president, and she'll be president next year for 2 years. Mary Hildebrand has generously offered to step up and be non-ascending vice president. She'll do all the duties of vice president. She'll chair the council. She'll be on the board. She'll go to leadership meetings if that's they continue with that model. And then at this time next year, we'll hopefully be voting in a vice president who will step up to be president the following year. Any questions about this model? Observations? All right. I have a cheat sheet up here. Let's start with Jane Foley because we just discussed this, that Jane is stepping off the Personnel Committee. So the Personnel Committee is like kind of not really well known that people do this work. It's really important work. Keeps us on the straight and narrow, helps us hire good people, and Jane and Michael and Jim have done really a great job. And Jane, we are so grateful for your work. So would you just come forward? And Jane is going to also be on she's serving on the intern minister committee. So still working for our church.
And the RE committee.
Jim Duncan and Michael O'Connor also serve on our audit committee. And again, behind the scenes work that is really important to keep the church running. Jim and Jane and Michael are also past presidents and people I have turned to for counsel and advice over the past couple years, and I'm really grateful to them. So Michael, I'll be dropping off a plant. I'll be lobbing it up on your porch. I have gifts for you guys, and again, thank you so much for so much of your work behind the scenes. Thank you, Jane. Our treasurer, outgoing treasurer, is John Raymond. Now, all of you know that John is a Harvard and Smithsonian astrophysicist, and I so admire his willingness to step into a volunteer job that has nothing to do with astrophysics. And he's been our treasurer for the last 4 years. Treasurer is a big lift. Also, a lot of work, making sure that people, checks go out, people get paid, and I really want to thank him for that work. Also, the treasurer is an officer of the board, and I have found your quiet counsel to be quite wise and very helpful, John, so I really appreciate your help. Please come forward. Janice Bissix has served on the board for 4 years, and Janice came to a board meeting about 3 days after her mother died. That's the level of commitment that she really showed to that position. She's on a well-deserved trip, but I really have been so grateful for her counsel and participation on the board. So thank you very much to Janice. Another big job, Dave Bliss has been our property chair, I think for a couple decades. It feels like it, yes. And that's a really big job. And Dave has moved a lot of projects along. And so we're going to miss him, but we're probably going to still see his handiwork in our church. So thank you very much, Dave. Come on forward. Dan Griscom has been our IT guy for, again, it feels like forever, but it's only been, has it been 4 years? Yeah. And so they're keeping the website going, they're keeping it's basically the software and the hardware, which is a pretty big thing. So we really appreciate the work you've done. You've continued your work of getting us really to be almost Zoom experts. And so thank you very much for your work on that. Please come up. Kathy Sang is departing as the pledge chair, but is moving to trustees, but she still gets a plant. And she did an incredible job, as we all know, on the pledge. She had a couple of innovations about the 2-year giving, the cornerstone giving, and she did an event at Bread of Life, which was really meaningful. And so we owe her a real debt of gratitude. Thank you to Kathy. Eric Lombiaso, you're leaving fellowship, but doing the auction and still doing the alternative fare, right? So you've done, again, you've been on fellowship for many, many years, and we really appreciate your work there, and we'll look forward to your work on these other committees. Come on forward. And one more person changing hats is John Postel. He's leaving the trustees. He's going from managing that money to managing the other money. He's going to be our treasurer and serve on the board again. And we really appreciate his financial knowledge and willingness to bring that to bear for the church. So thank you to John. All right, so I have all these plants left because people aren't here. I think that's it for the. So thank you to all the outgoing leaders. We could not do this work without you. Thank you.
So, Liz, I just want to extend my congratulations on your successful run in senior leadership. 2 years as vice president, 2 more years as president. Back in 2022, when you started as VP, we were just kind of emerging and regrouping after COVID. As a congregation, we were digesting the Next Steps report and figuring out how to move forward with some of its recommendations. And we've really made a lot of important progress since then. During your tenure, we started an ongoing governance experiment to make senior leadership terms more manageable, established a membership team, coordinated our response to a Thoughtful Thursday protest. That was a fun one. Established a gifts and bequests process to fund important projects in the church. You work closely with property and finance and IT to navigate the sometimes choppy waters of building and grounds needs and challenging budgets and financial management and thorny tech issues. And you pitched in on the little things in church life that really make a difference, like diligently making sure the compostables and the recyclables were in the proper bins. So through it all, you kept a watchful eye on what and who needed attention, an open mind to new ideas, and a deep commitment to our board covenant's principle of respect, accountability, and empathy, and to seeing leadership's work as spiritual discernment. Personally, I've learned so much from serving with you. You've always been willing to offer guidance, suggest ideas, try new things. You unfailingly showed up with grace, courage, and humor. I really just thank you so much for your service to our church community.
Thank you very much. It's been a pleasure to serve with all of you, and it's been an honor to be your president, which is it's a very interesting concept in some ways. I believe we have only one thing left on the agenda. I got to go change the slides. Oh, I did put new business on here, and this was a question, is there new business? And so I felt that it was important that if anyone had new business that they wanted to bring up, we have an opportunity. Do I hear anyone, does anyone have any new business? Well, just remember that you can do it. So, yes, well, wait a minute. Charles, I'd like to suggest that, do we have the annual meeting date? The 26th. All right. Last year we sang the UUs Who Never Adjourn, and I suggested to Charlie that he might lead us in that this year. So here we are. Charlie? Yeah, wherever. Come up. Hit. hit a note on the piano.
Okay, I don't exactly know the words, so I'm going to look at them too. We didn't bring our pianist, but
You want a note on the piano?
yeah. Let me tell you a story of some good church people. There were liberals, everyone. They sat down at the table, counted up the quorum, and declared the meeting begun. But did they ever adjourn? No, they never returned, and their fate is still unlearned. They may meet forever with the rules of Robert, the UUs who never adjourned. They adopted the agenda, they corrected the minutes, they elected a chair pro tem. They amended the amendment, called the previous question, and sang out a closing hymn. On a point of order, the vice chairperson breathed his last word with a sigh. There was a minute of silence as old Charlie went off to that committee meeting in the sky. But did they ever adjourn? No, they never adjourned, and their fate is still unlearned. They may meet forever with the rules of Robert, the UUs who never adjourned.
And I think we can adjourn by acclaim. Thank you very much, everybody. We're adjourned by acclaim. No, we need a motion. Mary Ellen says we need a motion. Dan Griscom? Second? Karen Gabler. All in favor? Anyone opposed? Or abstains? Great. Thank you very much.